It's got to be a great feeling for Dexter to have lived long enough to start seeing his legacy being put into books. Oh, you open up a library book and you see the Bay Harbor Butcher. However, it's got to feel a type of way to see that it's Stokes' photo there and not his. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Episode 6 of Dexter Resurrections is here. It is called Cat and Mouse. I think it's safe to say for all us Dexter fans, we are being fed well between Dexter Origins and this, but this series has been just chef's kiss phenomenal. And this episode does not disappoint at all. We start off with a bit of a sadness. Blessings bomb Prudence, which we sort of forecasted in the previous episode, passes away. And I will say Dex is, again, terrible at giving comfort. His response initially is, death comes for us all. And even the look on his face, like, why the hell did I just say that? Like, oh, Jesus. Still, he somehow gets an invite from Blessings to come to the wake. And so Dex has to cancel plans with Harrison to say, hey, I know we're going to hang out, but there's a funeral of my landlord's mom passed away. And he asked Harrison for a little bit of wardrobe advice, like, hey, can I wear a hoodie to the funeral? And Harrison's like, no, uh, I'll be there. So he comes with a suit that he's confiscated from the hotel because this seems to be a thing that he does a lot. And then he's dressed to go to the wake with him. And Dex is like, you don't need to come with me. Like, this is fine. You didn't even know them. And Harrison's like, no, I don't wish anybody to go to a funeral alone. Which is sort of saying that he has done it before. And Dex brings up, oh yeah, with Hannah, like you were all on your own. And Harrison's like, yeah, it was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to go through. And then you see a really cool moment with the Morgan men. They shoot it great. Like looking in the mirror, you see the Morgan men all sort of in a cascade row. Harrison, Dex, and then Harry's the image of Harry all in a row, and they all say like really kind things about it. It's a touching moment of seeing the Morgan men. And then that Dexter's getting better at his dad thing. He says, "Look, both your moms will be proud of you in this moment right now because they're fixing on working their ties and kind of just becoming better people." And that means a lot to Harrison. Harrison then says to Dex, "I'm glad that you came back." Yay for Dex! He's getting a win because things are tightening up around him quickly. As they head up to the house, Dex is sort of prepping Harrison for a sad and solemn wake. They walk in. It's like a party. It's a celebration of life. Something that uh, a lot of people do, but particularly people of color, Black folks, we celebrate life, and so it's a gathering. It's a get together. It's talking about the good things, the good times, and not so much sitting in the pain. Although the pain does come, and so they have a wonderful sort of sharing of memories point that happens in the wake. It gets a little sad. Breakdowns happen. It brings blessings to tears. Even Dex kind of sheds a tear, which is just a powerful moment. I think the more that he's around Harrison, sort of the more his humanity sort of comes out, like the human nature of him. Um, and it's fun. Just even in the call to check out the wardrobe, Dex would normally just like, I'm going to go out in the black hoodie. And Harrison's like, Dad, no, that's not. Like it gives him another person to sort of feed off of instead of just always talking to himself and the hairy version of himself that he has in his head. So Charlie breaks back into Red's apartment, the true Red's apartment, and sees that Red's not there, and he hasn't been for some time. There is old produce on the counter. The cereal has milk in the sink that hasn't been cleaned for a couple of days. It's like, yeah, he's not here, and so she calls Leon and says, yeah, Red's MIA, and he hasn't been here for some time. To which point, Leon then calls Dex, who is Red for the scenario, and he's like, look, I'm outside your apartment, and you're not here. And he's like, and where are you? And Dex quickly, this man thinks on his toes. He maybe already had this sort of set up in his head because if Charlie went once, he's like, she's going to probably go again. He flips it on him quickly and is like, look, I as Red am a person who believes in their anonymity. And if Charlie broke into my place once, I knew she was going to do it again. And so I can't live there anymore. Like I haven't lived there for quite some time, ever since Charlie broke in. And Leon's like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Like I can follow that. Yeah, that works. Cool. I need you to come to my place ASAP. So Dex realizes that he has to leave. Now, it's important while at the wake, Harrison has had his eyes opened up to college and college life. And he sees like an NYU university station that's happening somewhere in New York, and he picks up a pamphlet and he sees that price tag. He's like, "Oh, that sticker shock is dumb. Yeah, this ain't happening on my watch. Like, never mind." So he throws that away. But he has at least gotten the idea from Joy, Blessing's daughter, about like, hey, maybe you don't have to know what it is you want to do in life right now, but you can at least start sort of pointing to some things, like getting your North Star, sort of figuring out what's next for you. While he's looking at the pamphlet, though, he gets a call from Eliza, I believe is her name. But basically, her son Dante needs a babysitter because she's got called in for an extra shift. He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Even though you and I are perpetually in the friend zone, I will come and help out your kid." So then we go and we look at Detective Wallace and Olivia, and they're interviewing Mia's potential victim, the victim that she brought home that got her all caught up. And in the conversation, they get this victim doesn't fit the typical Lady Vengeance profile, in that he's not a sexual predator. In fact, he's a very aloof man that probably would never have gotten the time of day from Mia. And so they're kind of torn because Ryan Foster fits the predator piece, but this person doesn't. And so does that mean she did the Ryan Foster one and not this? Or is she just a killer and she just likes to kill anybody? Like, this just doesn't have to be a sexual predator. The things don't mesh up into a perfect sort of puzzle for them. He does give them a line that she said specifically to him, and that this would be her first kill in New York, which kind of prompts both of them to be like, "Wait, what? That doesn't make sense," because Ryan Foster would have been the first kill that occurred in New York. They let him leave, and when the Detective Wallace is sort of hanging up on that line, it's like that line, "First to kill in New York, first to kill in New York." Detective Olivia is kind of a little less harking to that. She's like, "Look, he just got bashed over the head with a bottle. He could have been concussed." I'm not taking for what he says in that moment for gospel, because his brain was all scrambled up at that point, and he was on adrenaline from having possibly dying. Also, how did that watch from Ryan Foster end up in that place, that location? Like, none of the stuff sort of makes sense. Enter Angel. Angel arrives like, "I got something to tell y'all. Let's chat for a moment." So he's just ready to let it out of the bag. He's like, "Look, I told you before that the way that your body from the Brian Foster killing was cut up was reminiscent to the way that the Bay Harbor Butcher used to be cut up. And in that, uh, my old partner, I believe, is the person." I'm like, "Yeah, Sergeant Dokes." I'm like, "No, no. Yes, the FBI led with Dokes, but I think it was somebody else. I think it was our forensic analyst, Dexter Morgan." He just straight up pulls out a photo of Dexter. Like, "I think it's this dude. I think it's Dexter Morgan." And they're like, "Okay, is Dexter in New York? Like, did he do this Ryan Foster one?" And it's like, "No, I don't think he did, because he was in a coma at that time." I'm like, "Well, why are you wasting our time?" But he's like, "No, I do know that Dexter had a son. His name is Harrison Morgan." And Wallace, like, her ears perk up. She's like, I know Harrison Morgan quite well." It's like, "Yes, I think his teachings got passed on to Harrison, and thus he did the Ryan Foster situation." And then he says, "I think Dex planted the watch from Ryan onto Mia to get the scent off of Harry." And Detective Olivia is kind of like, "Well, cool, but if he is the Bay Harbor Butcher, why would he get Mia arrested? He would kill Mia. Like, the MO is to kill serial killers, not to get them arrested." He's like, "Yeah, I don't have that piece. I don't know why that's the thing. But I think if we go and chat with Mia, if you allow me to tag along with you when you guys interview her, I bring this photo, she's going to recognize who this is, and we'll sort of, everything that I'm saying will be tied together, and it'll make a lot more sense." And Detective Wallace says, "Yeah," because Angel sort of harkens and is like, this is your white whale. This is my white whale. You had a white whale in New York, with the New York Ripper, and you would do anything to solve that crime. I'm trying to do that here. She's like, okay, cool. You can tag along with us. So back at Leon's place, Red slash Dexter, Al, and Gareth, the Gemini killer, are all called to Leon's place, and they're having a moment, a conversation, and they're not feeling safe with everything that's happening. One, Lowell can't be found. Dex knows why, and they don't truly trust that Mia's not going to drop a dime on them. Like they don't feel comfortable with her still sort of being and be existing, um, with knowing as much information as she does about all of them. Like, and Leon says, "Calm down. I've got people in high places all over the police. We are handling it. It will be taken care of." He knows that Charlie's looking for Lowell, which caused a little bit more concern for Al and Gareth. And they're like, "Wait, now we're disappearing too? Like, what is happening to this scenario right now?" And then Gareth starts speaking of himself by his serial killer moniker in the third person. He starts talking about how good the Gemini killer and how everybody wants to be the Gemini killer and how the Gemini killer is the number one on the FBI list. Gemini killer, Gemini killer, Gemini killer, to the point where Dex's like, "Oh, this dude's got to die. Like he believes himself way too much. We got to kill this mother." But he is concerned about Mia using him being the number one on the FBI list as a way to get out of prison. Like, hey, she's going to drop a dime on him so she can get out. Like, she's not nearly as big as I am. She's going to make herself free using me because I'm the biggest serial killer in the zeitgeist. Liana continues to say, "Don't be so nervous. I got it. I got it handled. In the meantime, here's a little bit of cash to tide you guys over to shut the hell up. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Don't worry." As they split, Dex begins to follow and stalk and do his thing with Gareth. He looks up the Gemini killer's MO, which is literally to kill two people all the time, kind of almost in a like Gemini stance, like one and one. So he follows him. He follows him all the way up to a library where Gareth puts a note in a book for someone or something, and then closes it. Dex takes that note out. It's like, nope, whoever's supposed to get that's not going to get it. He's being watched. We don't see who is watching him, but we do see him that he's being watched. But then he sort of checks out. It's like, hey, this book has a world's greatest serial killers. Let's see if I'm in here. And there's a whole section on the Bay Harbor Butcher. Unfortunately, not his photo, as Dokes' photo, but he can still live a little bit. It's like, huh, I'm kind of known. Cool. Harrison goes to watch Dante, and Elsa lets Harrison know that, hey, have Dante sleep in my room because his room's sort of in quarantine because there's mold in there. It's causing issues for his asthma. Talk to my landlord. Landlord won't do anything about it, but this is the scenario that we're in. It's like, I'm not paying rent until the landlord does something, but he won't answer my emails, so that is what it is. You can immediately see that, oh, is this going to be a new victim for Harrison? Like, is this going to be his thing that he takes out? He eventually meets the landlord, who is a bit of a prick, and comes off. And Harrison has a fascination of stabbing the man in the eye with a fork. In real life, he drops the fork and just takes the barrage of insults that this man has for him, Elsa, and Dante, and kind of closes the door. But he, in that moment, felt the urge, like, I need to end this dude. So then Dex arrives at home, and he sees that Sam is having some issues with some ice. He helps him up, and then he comes back to his room downstairs, and there Gareth is waiting, and they sort of stalked him and found out where he is. Now he is following them as Red, not as Dex, so he knows that, hey, that's not Dexter, that's Red. So he believes he's in Red's quarters, and he's asking him about the note that he took. He's like, why did you take that note? And Dex immediately flips, like, look, I'm a big fan. And Dex knows, he thinks so highly of himself that this is going to buy himself some time to figure out what he's going to do, because if he just plays to his ego, it's going to work out. And Gareth is like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. This has happened before. Everybody loves me. Everybody wants to be around me, be with me. Like, he's just sucking this up. And Dex is like, yeah, I want to know more about you. And I want to know what the card means. I want to know what this means. At that point, Dex asked him, like, hey, do you want a gin and tonic? He's like, yeah, I would love a G&T. My skin crawled when he referred to it as that. But in that, Dex sets up a gin and tonic and starts to kind of converse with him and talk with him. You hear how big his ego is, and then he puts some of that M99 agent in his drink for good measure. Now, this shows you how smart Dex is to know that the Gemini killer is going to try to, like Gareth is going to try to switch the drink. So he originally has the drink that has the M99 in it. And he's about to take a sip. And then Gareth is like, nah, I don't trust you. But if you're about to drink that one's probably safe. Then he swaps them. Dex drinks his, and he takes his to the head. That's the one that has the M99, and then he passes out. Now, it's important to note that before he passes out, he does let Dex know that Leon was allowing him to double dip, and so he was getting paid double to send him preview photos of the nights of his kills. So he would take a photo right before he's killing his victims, like right when they know that he's going to die. He would take that photo and send that to Prater, and Prater would double up his money. So Prater's a little voyeuristic, but also wants more. Like he's getting off on this type of stuff. But Dex gets the drop on him, puts him on his table, does the kill. He collects the slide, but this is the one person he does not allow to take off the tape. He's like, I don't want to hear from you. Like I've heard enough of you talking and babbling on about yourself. I'm just going to end this. So he quickly kills him. And as he's killing him, stabbing him through the knife, the chest, Blessings comes and knocks on the door. So Dex has to move the body, hide it in the bathtub. And then Blessings comes in to sort of apologize because he snapped on him and Sam earlier, bringing in the ice. He's just having a real hard time adjusting to his mom not being there because his mom was sort of his North Star. Blessing says that, hey, I've had sort of a dark past in my past. I was a lot of things where I did things that I was not very proud of or happy about. And Prudence, my mom, set me straight and said, hey, what you went through in the past, it's not important. It's not important. It's not about your past. It's about what you do going forward. Only move forward. Only move forward. And never bring the darkness home. Don't bring the darkness to his home. It's to which point Dex is like, yeah, I got to do a better job of separating Red from Dex so that this doesn't come back to Harrison. And to Blessing, but more so to Harrison. Like, I don't want this to fall back on him. Like, we're doing everything possible to keep Harrison clean. This Red Dex stuff needs to be separate. Now, that's a cool thing to say. I feel like that ball's been kicked a little too far down the street to sort of bring it back in now, Dex. Next day, Dex meets Harrison at a diner, and Harrison speaks of his urges again. He tells him, like, hey, Dad, it happened again. Dex is like, well, did you do it? He's like, no, but I wanted to. I had this fascination of like stabbing this dude, and he's a dick, and I wanted to stab him. And Dex tells him to stop beating yourself up. Don't go backwards. He uses what Prudence gave to Blessings directly now to Harrison. He's like, don't go backwards. You had an impulse and you didn't act on it. You denied it. You are a lot like your Aunt Deb, who was very impulsive, had a lot of anger issues, but often did the right thing. And you have a hot temper, just like her, but you typically do the correct thing. Find your own path. You don't have to be a monster like me. Find your own path, and whatever you do, whatever you're choosing to do, I'm going to be here to help you. 2 for 2, Dex, on the daddy things today. Look at you being a good dad, saying the right things and the things that Harrison needs to hear. It's crazy because in the last season he was so dead to set Harrison up as his equal, his number 2, being my son. But now he's like, nope, he's grown as a man. Say, no, son, go be whatever it is you want to be, and I'm going to be here to back it up. So Olivia, Wallace, and Batista all arrive to the jail to go meet Mia, and then an alarm goes off. Now, mind you, right before this, we see a sequence where Charlie gives somebody some money. Ugly-looking man with some facial scars or whatnot gives him some money. He has a gambling addiction, and they sort of fund that. These folks arrive at the jail. They get to Mia's cell, and she has hung herself, quote unquote. But what we really see is that the person that Charlie gave that money to is the warden for her cell, and he set her up to be hung. And so Mia has been taken off the board by Prater because it was making the Gemini killer nervous. It was making their people nervous that she was out there and possibly could drop a dime. Even though she said she wasn't, she told them she wasn't. Charlie heard that she wasn't. They still went through and took her off the board because the folks that were still active and out, that were still giving Leon the urges, the information, because Mia can't do him any good. She can no longer provide him what he needs, but those outside could. So it's like, we'll just take her off the board if these folks are going to be happy and stick around. So kill her, and they do. Which means that whatever Batista was going through with that thread of blah, 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 it's not going to work. There's nobody to corroborate that they've seen Dexter. So Dex gets a call from Charlie to say, hey, come meet at this location at the pier. Got a surprise for you. While driving, Dex hears about Mia's death. It's like, crap, Leon got to her. And then Harry hops in and is like, look, if if they killed Mia, who they actually genuinely liked, what makes you think that they're not going to kill the new guy when they start seeing all these people drop off? And Dex like, cool, I got it. I understand. We're still going. So they all arrive at the pier to take Prater's helicopter up to the air. Al has arrived. Dex is there, and Dex knows that Dex's Red is there. Dex knows that Gareth isn't showing up. There's no way he shows up. I just took him off the board. So they're like, we're going to be waiting a minute. They get into the helicopter. Leon's sort of waiting. Is like, we got airspace. We're good. We're clear. Do you want to go? And he's like, let's give it 2 minutes, Charlie. He looks at Charlie. He's like, Charlie, any words? He's like, nope, nothing. And Leon's like, okay, let's hold. And then all of a sudden, we see Gareth, or what appears to look like Gareth, walking up to the helicopter and getting in. To which Dex is like, well, shit. Of course, how could I have missed this? The Gemini killer, naturally, there's two of them. It's his identical twin. Oh, crap. And that's how the episode ends. it It's going to be interesting because in this moment we don't see that the identical twin sort of even looks at or gives any sort of feeling toward Dex, but I would imagine that yes, he's aware because that note was probably for him and was probably being watched by the other brother, and so they kind of are always sort of around in each other's orbit. So yes, he is probably good and aware that Dex took his brother out. So now on this very uncomfortable helicopter ride where they're going to God knows where, it's going to be interesting to see how he can get out of this uh, quickly. And I'm really curious to see how far Leon's payroll goes. Like him paying that Gordon was one thing, but he had to sort of pay him to do that. He is under the operation that he already has people within it. And I don't know what it is. There's something in the back of my head that says that I feel like Detective Olivia is on somewhere on his payroll. Wallace, no, because she is too headstrong and too far in. I feel like Detective Olivia, he keeps going against everything that Wallace has to say for good reasons. None of it seems so out of the ordinary yet, but I feel like he might be on that side, and how all of this kind of falls apart is because of him. But yeah, this is a great episode. See Dex. Dex didn't do a lot of homework. He was so set up to get the Gemini killer the second he started just grandizing and being so grandiose about everything that he is. And he's like, look, I just got to take this dude out. Not sort of looking into, he didn't do his normal, I'm going to compile a complete dossier on this person. Because of that, he missed the fact the Gemini killer naturally would have a second person that is working with them. And so continues to ratchet up this situation. Seems like the ties on Harrison have loosened up a bit because Mia is off the board. But who knows if Harrison keeps having these urges, and now Dexter's going to this helicopter and going to be away for a little bit and can't get to Harrison. Is he going to be able to check in time enough before Harrison does something and goes off the rails? What did you guys think about this episode of Dexter called Cat and Mouse? What are your thoughts and comments in the comments below? If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at Hollywood80i. You're going to hit us up on email at hollywoodalreadydidit@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.